Welcome to Colon's newest landmark, the Iconique Mall in Colon. With its state-of-the-art architecture and design, the Iconique Mall in Colon will surely give you a unique shopping experience. But most of all, here at the Iconique Mall, we value your safety and security. Thus, all of our staff follow strictly by the protocols set by the IATF and the EOC of the Cebu City Government. So please visit us here at the Iconique Mall in Colon and enjoy a safe shopping and dining experience. Basta lag na unique, iconic.
Ang alcohol mo ba'y nakaka-disinfect? Siyempre. Pero alcohol ba? Ang Casino Active Alcohol, may cologne fresh feeling. Init at pawis, stress sa work, night outs, sa beach. Mag-Casino Active Alcohol Fresh. Matapang na amoy. Switch na sa Alcohol Fresh. Mag-Casino Active.
Ibang level ka mag-alaga, mahal. Always there for us. Parang Cebu natin. Bio-Derm. Always bio-there for us.
Bio-there sa germ protection, feeling cool.
Plus blooming ang skin at bango. Ganyan din ba ang sabon nyo?
Pimples? For me, di paramihan ng steps sa pimples. 2 steps lang sa Dr. S. Wong's Sulfur Soap and Bioderm Ointment with sulfur that helps kill pimple-causing germs and zinc oxide that helps lessen redness and inflammation. 2 steps lang with Dr. Wong.
Maayong hapon sa tanan. Welcome to another insightful episode of Open Line News Media Forum here on MyTV Cebu, where all of our lines are open to discuss the most relevant and interesting topics on business, politics, governance, security, love, among many others. My name is 𝗙𝗲𝗄𝗀, and of course, joining me today is my partner, Mr. 𝗟𝗲𝗄𝗀.
Thank you very much, Andy, and welcome to everyone. Open Line is open to all questions and all colors, so to speak. And sakto to yung gingon nimo, partner, nga hasta love appeal kay kuan man eh. Namantay kuan guest kabahin sa marriage.
Yes.
And the nullity and annulment of marriages.
Exactly, sir. But before we proceed in introducing our panelists for today's forum, of course, we would like to thank our venue partner for today's forum, Iconique Mall Colon, and our show presenter, International Pharmaceuticals Incorporated, or IPI. Daghan kaayong salamat. So once again, friends, we are live streaming via MyTV Cebu's Facebook page and YouTube channel. So if you'd like to jump in the conversation, feel free to type in your comments or questions in the comment section in our live streaming link. And of course, later on, we will also be entertaining questions from our friends from the media. So daghan kaayong salamat for joining us today. Alright, sige Sir Eric, atong ipaila-ila sa atong mga viewers ang ato ang mga speakers karong puntaga.
Our guest for this morning, we have to my extreme right, Attorney May Aguilar. She's the author of a new book, and you should try to get it. Unya, pangutano na to, asa nila pwede mapalit ni, no? Nullity and Annulment, a new lawyer's guide to Philippine Law on marriage. So, katong mga gusto pang maminyo, ay sa mo palit. Ani? Ay sa mo palit. Okay. Oh, okay. Murag ibutangan nato sa Tagalog pa, balakid ba ang inyong kuan? Anyway.
Kato nang gusto mo gawa sa kami ni sir.
Murag gusto. So,
kidding aside. And of course.
And then, kani akong tapad, is a public ad graduate, si Mary Claire C. Coronado, Information Officer 1, Philippine Identification System, nasa Philippine Statistics Administration, sakto ba na? Authority o Philippine Statistics Authority. So welcome sa programa.
Welcome. And by the way, this is Miss Claire's second time to join us for this forum. Pero kaning si Atty. May, suki po ni siya sa My TV. So we also featured her first book, which was about estafa. And karon, bag-o na sad ni about Nullity and Annulment, a non-lawyer's guide to the Philippine law on marriage. So I think that this is an interesting discussion to wrap up the month of February because as they say, February is considered the love month after all. But before siguro we invite Atty. May to talk about her book, maybe we can start the discussion with Ms. Claire by giving us an outlook. Kamusta na day atong statistics, Ms. Claire, about marriage here in Central Visayas?
All right. Good morning, Miss Andy. Good morning, sir. O good morning sa atong mga viewers and listeners sa My TV, especially sa Open Line program. So, I would like to present to you the marriage statistics. So this data were obtained from the timely and late registered na marriages at the city or municipal civil registrar in Central Visayas. This also includes marriages of Filipinos whose usual residence is abroad and also whose marriages of foreign nationals but occurred in the country. So, kaning data is katura tong mga na-register nga mga marriages at the city or municipal civil registrar. Katong mga na-married but wala pa na-register ilahang marriage certificate at the city or municipal civil registrar, wala siya na-count ani nga data. So, I would like to present only for the Central Visayas. So, in Central Visayas, this is the preliminary results for the year 2021. So there are 32,977 marriages were registered in Central Visayas for the year 2021. And then Central Visayas ranked 4th in terms of the highest number of marriages recorded in the Philippines. In the Philippines, there are 356,839 registered marriages. So in terms of marriages registered by place of occurrence, ang pinakadaghan nga na-register is the province of Cebu. Why? Because ang Cebu is daghan man sad sila og population. Next in line is Negros Oriental. So arita sa buwan kay mutuo ba mo nga ang kanang mga padong magpakasal no pareha na mong mga single magsabot man gyud ta no kung unsa mang buwan ta magpakasal kung taas ba ang buwan or butod ba ang tiyan, di ba? So based sa ato ang data, ang pinakataas nga na-register sa 2021 sa atong marriages is June, with 4,151. So tinuod gyud di ay nga mag-June bride ano kay kung June daw kay June comes from the word Juno, Roman name na Juno, the goddess of marriage. So buot daw pasabot nga prosper daw ang ato ang marriage. Di daw ta makahuna-huna sa libro ni attorney na Nullity and Annulment. So basin no ni believe sila ana na based po sa data, June po ang pinakadaghan, followed by May with 4,115 marriages. Ang pinaka-lowest is August with 1,466. So, i-compare na to ang data sa 2020 o 2021, ubos yun kaayo ang 2020 since pandemic man to nga time. Wala man to ni open ang mga churches, ang mga mukasal, ang mga solemnizing officers, courts, sa ato ang mga mayor kay pandemic man to. So nikalit siya og taas nga daghang registration sa 2021. And then, ganahan po mo makabalo? Naadari kong pila po ang single kay single baya po mi. Kasi di ay na-interested, no? Pahibaw. So, sa Central Visayas, this is based sa results sa ato ang 2020 Census of Population and Housing. The reference period is up until 01 of May 2020, 12 midnight. So, sa among gikwinta, No, based sa result, official result, from 10 years old and over, ang total single population in Central Visayas is around 2.5 million. Oh, daghan day mi. So dili mag-goal ka to mga nangitag forever, walay ka date pag last February 14, daghan day ta no. So of that 2.5 million natay 1,375,718 male single. Hala, minilyon pa dahil sila. How come wala? Nakita na ka, Miss Andy?
Nakita na.
Nakita
Pero daghan mga taga My TV nga wala pa nakakita.
So napay minilyon nga mga lalaki. I-compare sa mga female, napasad tay 1,157,059. So mga minilyon pata. So, di mag-uol kung wala tay ka-date ma February 14. No? So, that's all for the marriage statistics of pilay single sa Central Visayas. Thank you.
But Ms. Kerr, I'm interested to know, ang imuha mang yung ipakita nga comparative analysis is 2020 versus 2021, right? Sakto ba ko? 2021?
Yes.
Oh. Pero if imo siyang i-compare gyud ang data during several years ago, mas daghan ba ang gusto gyud magminyo during this generation compared ni atong karaang panahon?
I'll check on the previous years before pandemic. Then
How about in terms of age, sa mga, especially for women who choose to get married, mas nisaka ba ang marrying age? Because back then, di ba, if we can recall, women who already reached their 20s, nanay duha ka anak, and then karon kay daghan gyapon kag mga 30-year-old women who are still single and enjoying their career. So if you could back that up with some data as well.
Yeah. Based sa ato ang 2020 Census of Population and Housing, ang age group nga pinakadaghan nga niingon nga married sila. Sa question man God is, unsa imong civil status, ma'am? Single, married ba ka, you have a live-in, widow, divorce. So, ang age group nga daghan og married, niingon nga married sila is 35 to 39 years old with 323,994. Based sa 2020 Census of Population and Housing and Data.
So 35 na nagyud sa 30 ang marrying age.
Yeah, daghang salamat no. I gusto na akong mahibaw-an ba. Kaya na-mention nimo to mga single, paghuman, ang usa may ratio between male and female karon.
So sa atong ratio based aning 2.5 no ang total sa single then 1.5 almost 1.4 ang male. So, both pasabot ana nga 3 out of 10 persons in Central Visayas are never married. So, sa napo nato dire, nagi mga tulo no nga wala na minyo. Isang kamot be.
Okay, so but in terms of ratio between male and female, mas daghang babae kaysa lalaki.
Yeah.
Basically, oo.
1.2. Mas daghan ang lalaki. Kay 1.4.
Mas daghan ang lalaki.
Okay. Mas daghan ang single male.
And then, ang sunod pangutana nako is, nagpagawas tag pila ka buok ang naminyo, no? Pero daghan pud ang haybawaan nga wala naminyo kay tungod dili sila kasugakod nga magpakasal. Nabatay ko nabatay statistics bahin ana nga murabag they're living in together, they are a loving couple, but they cannot afford to get married. Nabay mga
Yeah, wala may data as the reasons why they are not getting married.
Pero pila ka buok kuno nag-live-in.
Nag-live-in,
Nami
cohabitation.
pila ka buok nag-live-in. So a total of both male and female live-in is 996,523.
Dini sa Central
Then
Visayas.
he's sa Central Visayas.
So, 996,000. Almost 1 million na sila.
Yes.
Okay, next is, katong pangutanan nako para lang kwanta, fair ta ani. Sakto ba gyud nga wapatan ni ada pa na, male, female lang yun, no? Ang
Sa Philippines,
ang atong gender.
i-confirm na to ni attorney is
Atong sex, no?
male
Atong
and female pa gyud ta
male
ang
and female
allowed
pa.
na mag-married.
Okay, so is it possible nga na-affected ning ratio nato kay tungod ang gender preferences sa biological man o gender preference sa biological woman, ang gusto nila woman, kung lalaki pod o female pod. Wala ba tayo ratio, ana, no? Wala pa.
Wala.
Buhatan na natong study.
Pwede, sir.
Pwede kayo, no?
Yeah, based on the statistics, you can have further studies why kanang pwede ba preference as to gender.
I think that could also be a reason, Sir Eric, no? Because if we may have noticed, the world is evolving from what began as a very early marrying age, especially for women. Karon kay ni shift na manggod ang role sa babae o lalaki, no? Women can also prioritize their careers. At the same time, sa issue pod sa kanang LGBTQIA+ community, we are more open to kanang these relationships.
Kani partner ako sa naipangutana kay ikaw, you're a mother, and then kuhan man na, no? Importante sa ni. Pila man kabuk ang mga kanabang adolescent nga na anak or just in case lang. Kung ano, nisaka ba? At least generally speaking, nisaka o ni kanaog? Ang imong pagbana-bana lang. Siguro kay na may mga studies ningon nidaghan ang mga adolescent pregnancies.
Yes.
Oh, so most likely siguro ni saka gyud, no? Okay.
Sige. We'll get back to that data once Ms. Claire grabs hold of the information. But how about in terms of annulled marriages in the Philippines, Ms. Claire?
Yes.
In Central Visayas, rather.
Yeah, in Central Visayas, when we talk about separated or annulled, we have 91,700 in Central Visayas.
91,700.
Yes po.
So legal separation na siya og annulled, both.
Yes.
Period of...
Apila ni ang separated lang yun? I mean,
Yeah,
they're not...
separated or annulled.
Okay.
Alright, sige. Sorry na sa tani, Atty. May, para maghatag na tog katinawan. Unsa man gid ang kalahian sa legal separation ug annulment, Atty. May. And we also have, of course, the nullity of marriage. So tulo ni siya ka concepts, Atty. No?
Good morning, Miss Ann. Good morning, Eric and
Yes.
Miss Claire. There is a huge difference between legal separation and nullity. Kay kung legal separation, di man ta kami niyog usab. That's why most people, when they come to us, mangutana gyud about annulment or nullity because the intention really is to marry again. So, ug moingon tag legal separation, igo ra mo gibulag, as we say, bed and board. So, di na mo mag-ipon. Pero minyo gihapon mo to each other, so di mo pwede pod makig-ipon og lain. If the woman becomes pregnant nga nag-separate na sila sa iyang bana, pwede pa siya makihaan og adultery. That's the biggest difference.
So they still stay married, technically, but they're already living separately.
Yes.
Kaning nullity of marriage versus annulment, attorney, unsa man say kalahian ana aron masabtan sa katawhan?
All right. Kana siya terminology, but it has a meaning. There are two kinds. Kaning book di ay, by the way, this talks basically about marriage itself and the validity of the marriage. Valid marriage, so while the title is, I know it says nullity and annulment, it's actually probably misleading. Kay it actually talks about the marriage, what makes it valid. Because without a valid marriage, wa man tay defective marriage, no? And at the end, there are two chapters that deal with whether you should file for nullity or not and what to do after the nullity has been granted. In between, na atong discussion on the two types of defective marriages. Yung nganong kaning two types raman ang akong gihisgot ani nga book is because kini nga two types maora ni ang mubungkag sa marriage. Ang legal separation, remember, naatoy defect pero di man siya mubungkag sa marriage. So kaning nullity and annulment maora ni ang mubungkag. Unsa maning duha ka defective marriages that we are talking about? One is a void marriage and the other is a voidable marriage. So when your marriage is totally void, it means there never was a marriage to begin with. So wala gyud. So technically wala kay ipa-annul. Because wala may marriage, there's nothing to annul. So when you file a case for psychological incapacity, for example, which makes your marriage void from the beginning, The proper term for your case is declaration of nullity, not annulment. Ang annulment, i-file lang na siya, or you call your case an annulment, if your marriage is voidable. Because voidable marriages are valid in the beginning, but you can have it annulled within a certain period. So, inig-file mo sa kaso, annulment na siya.
So, daghan ang maglibog ani nga mga terms, attorney.
Yes, and that is partly the reason why I came up with the book, to explain the difference between nullity and annulment. But the other big reason is, daghang moari na mo or daghang mungutana na ako sa Facebook kung pwede ba sila mo file og nullity under Article 36 sa Family Code, which is psychological incapacity. That's the more popular term for it. And then, when they tell me the grounds, the reasons, nga naman ma'am, nga magpanalify man ka sa psychological incapacity, ay kaing-ani magod attorney, mao ni akong bana, di ko tagdon, magsigiglakaw, etc. And I realized that there is a widespread misinformation as to what psychological incapacity means. And I am hoping that the book will help explain that.
Okay, na hisgutan nato tong kabahin sa kuan ba? Kanibang what are the grounds for nullity for void marriages, in short, marriages that never actually happened from the beginning. So, para lang masabtan sa atong mga katawhan, unsa maning mga grounds nga pwedeng gamiton sa Article 36 in terms of determining what is really a void marriage.
Sir, ang imuhang question is on say grounds to declare a marriage void, right? I would like to emphasize that Article 36 is only one ground to declare a marriage void. Right. There are two groups of void marriages, and I grouped them in the book. One is involves a critical discussion of what the elements of marriage are.
Essentials.
Because, yes, there are essential and formal requisites. Now, void marriages, the first group of void marriages are those marriages nga kulang o either essential or formal requisite. Because according to the law, if either essential or formal requisite is absent, void ang marriage. So, for example, dili mao ang edad. So, 16-year-olds, requirement man ng age. So, void na siya. Mga inana. So, the other group of void marriages, because I said there are two groups, right? The first group are those marriages na kulang o requisite. The other group is what I call void marriages by provision of law. So, what are these marriages? Magkudigo ko sa akong libro. So, kadtong mga marriages, for example, that are incestuous, bigamous. There are marriages that are called, by the way, incestuous are between ascendant and descendant and between siblings.
Okay.
Bigamous marriages are also void from the beginning, meaning kaduha ka naminyo. Naminyo kag usab, wala na nullify ang first. Bigamous na.
Muna siya yung important sa marriage bonds, attorney, no? Kanang before sa misa. Kanang i-announce para napay.
But that's very local, Miss. But what if your marriage was done in Cavite and I moved to Cebu and marry here?
Yeah.
So that's where the senomar comes in.
Because I know somebody nga mangayo og senomar ko no sa mga uyab sa iyahang anak to make sure nga dili gyud ko no minyo usa sa mga requirements.
Sakto man sad because before the daughter or the son becomes too emotionally involved, dapat kay bawo na ta minyo ba or dili. 'Di ba? So another is kanang mo ni anhi din hinahulog ang psychological incapacity, Article 36 under this category.
Attorney, that will be my next question. Ato lang klaruhon kay nasay katong inyong gihisgutan. You mentioned about incestuous marriages and you talked about ascendants and descendants. Para lang mas makaptan sa mga naminaw nato, kanang mga ig-agaw, kay usually naman ay mga inana. So, at what level, what degree ang pwede sa mga mag-agaw, magminyo o dili magminyo?
It might come as a surprise to you, pero pwede na mo makigminyo sa inyong second cousin.
Really?
Yeah, really. I know it's odd in our culture.
Second degree cousin.
Ihap yun na ako while I was in law school and I couldn't believe it. I said, ha? Pwede ko makigminyo niya? My second cousin was very close to me. Ha? And you know, yes, second cousins, dili na siya. It's actually not incestuous. It's covered, yeah. Because incestuous, by definition of law, covers only ascendant-descendant.
For example?
Inahan, anak.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Or lolo, anak. Lolo, apo.
Or
Sorry.
in-laws, pwede sad.
Wait, that's another.
That's another one.
Incestuous is just ascendant-descendant and siblings. So
okay.
kanang igsuon, that's under the prohibition on marriages that are prohibited by public policy. So, prohibited gihapon siya up to the 4th civil degree, if I'm not mistaken. But ako na siyang gihap up to, ang prohibited is uncle nga igagaw sa imong mama. Murag inana. But ang anak sa igagaw sa imong mama is already out.
Inani pod koan kaning attorney kay para ko hindi maglibog kayo. Panlitan ang father-in-law giminyo ang daughter-in-law.
That's another category, sir, not collateral relatives, because the mother-in-law and the daughter, son-in-law are not technically relatives by blood. Okay. So they are prohibited gihapon ng marriage under public policy.
Okay.
But it is another group. It's kanagid siya, steps and in-laws. So kung steps and in-laws, brothers, sisters-in-law are okay. It's the mother, son, or father-daughter that's not allowed. So, in-laws and kanang steps. Okay. So, stepdaughter, stepfather, di pwede. But stepbrother and stepsister, okay lang.
Pwede.
Yeah.
Unless they're legally adopted.
Unless they're legally adopted, because people, adoptees of common adopters cannot marry also. Under another category.
How about kanang mga magbalae nga parehong widow?
In-laws man na sila, sisters, brothers-in-law, okay ra na.
Kung kwan, let's say, father o balae ba? Murabag ato
No, that's downward, no. Kung,
Dili, pwede. So pwede ba, let's say, ang father sa iyang anak, ang mother sa iyang anak, nagminyo ang ilalom sa taas.
Walay prohibition.
Walay prohibition.
So mother-in-law
basta widow lang, parehong widow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sige, mangutan ako, Attorney May. I know nga you cannot speak on behalf of Central Visayas. No, wala man kay statistics for that. But based lang sa imuhang personal experience in your years as a lawyer, attorney, unsa may common reasons gyud nga gustong magbuwag ang usa ka managtiayon base lang sa musik sa imuhang advice?
Tinuod nga rason?
Oh, tinuod gyud nga rason.
They fall out of love.
Really? Because of what? Because is there somebody else?
No. Doesn't have to be anyone else. They fall out of love.
Okay.
And because they have fallen out of love, they see defects in the other person. Which is, now, psychologist po ko at heart. So, I've been analyzing these situations, but kasagaran gyud, rare ra gyud nang moari nako nga tinuod nga naay rason.
Okay.
In most cases, they simply fall out of love. They don't like each other anymore. And then they begin seeing things that they don't like in the other party, which has always been there.
Okay.
Like,
interesting.
Maninghag siya nako, attorney. Don't tell me, karon ra na maninghag. Niya, to maninghag man gud na. But you were so in love that you just allowed it to pass. See, so that's why at the end of the book, I made a chapter. I think it's the epilogue or the one chapter before that. I said nga, before you decide to nullify your marriage, on Article 36 especially, pangutan ako no imong kaugalingon, is there really a defect in the other person? Or have you just fallen out of love? Because ug naa mo'y mga anak, and the only reason that you are nullifying your marriage is because you have fallen out of love, you are doing your children an injustice. you owe a lot to your kids to keep your marriage together.
Attorney May, you mentioned about voidable marriages, and then you mentioned about psychological incapacity. Let's define it for our public. What is psychological incapacity?
Okay. Sir, ang psychological incapacity is not voidable, ha? It's void marriage. I just would like to correct that kasi
okay.
ma-confused sila.
Oo.
Onya, kaning psychological incapacity, I would like to point out that for the last 30 years or since 1988 when the family code became effective, it is a concept that has remained elusive to everyone, to courts, to lawyers, even to the Supreme Court, which has vacillated in the definition of psychological incapacity. Ang atong gibuhat ra sa Supreme Court is to lay down guidelines in the Molina case, they call it. Guidelines kuno, mauni ang atong checklist kung alleged ta og psychological incapacity. And yet, in the Tan Andal case, giutro pa gyud na nga guidelines. So, ang ako lang gyud ani, in general, to answer Sir Eric's question, unsa man gyud psychological incapacity? Psychological incapacity is in the brain, is in the mind.
Yes.
Kana bang wa gyud ka kasabot nga naa di kay obligasyon. All right? Example, you give a child a kanang relo nga Rolex nga watch. You give it to a child. Would a child know unsay gamit sa relo o unsay value sa relo? Dili, no, because it's beyond his capacity to understand. Pareho ana ang psychological incapacity. Dili kasabot nga, uy, minyo nako na ako'y obligasyon. Ma'am na siya.
Okay, sakto na ma'am, theoretically, pero ang mga naminaw na to, gusto silang situational. Kada bang ilag yung mapaak ba? For example, kanang namakak. Kanang inana ba ma'am? Give them something that they can, a situation ba?
Right.
Example, para makasabot sila, amo din na psychological incapacity.
Actually, no single act will qualify for psychological incapacity. That is a difficult thing there because it is in the brain. You cannot say nga, mauna, psychological incapacity na yun. No. It is a collection of a lot of things, a lot of actions through the years. Unya, imo na siyang tan-awon, evaluaton, unsa man ni batasan ba gyud ni? Appeal ba gyud ni sa batasan? Appeal ba gyud ni sa batasan? For example, namakak og kausa. Dili na siguro mo mahimong psychological. Namakak og kaduha, di gihapon.
Namakak sa iyang reputasyon, ma'am.
Di gihapon.
Di gihapon.
Di gihapon. It's really, you have to look into the personality trait. Under the Tan Andal case, gibutang na nalag personality trait. Lisod jud siya kaayo, and that's the reason why a lot of our psychological incapacity cases are rejected by the courts. Kay lisod man siya i-establish. You have to establish nga it is part of him. Nga, for example, di mo hatag og support. Di ba? Attorney, akong bana maayog sweldo, pero attorney, di gyud mo hatag namo og suporta.
So in that case, unsa may tabo?
Is it, ang question din ha, nganong di mo hatag? Is it because di siya ganahan mohatag, which is inability, kanang refusal lang yun, di ba? Or is it because di siya makahatag because ang iyang tibuok sweldo gikuha sa iyang nanay? That's inability. Dili po na psychological incapacity. Psychological incapacity is dili siya mohatag because wa siya kasabot nga obligasyon dahil niya ang mohatag.
Right.
Pero ato sa kuan,
Yes.
ang questions for both our guests, mangutana lang ta. Did the number of kanibang nag-apply sa annulment
Or nullity of marriage.
of marriages nisaka ba through the years? Both sa inyo duha. Sa inyo, let's start with you first kuan sa nisaka ba ang kadaghanan sa mga ni-file og kuan og nullity or annulment?
Or legal separation.
Or legal separation?
Sige, while waiting for the statistics, attorney, based on your experience.
Ako, I cannot say with certainty because wa man ko'y data, wa ko'y statistic. And the people who come to me for help on this, while nagkadaghan, doesn't necessarily represent the population.
Right.
What I can say though, what statistic I have though is pila ka psychological incapacity cases ang gi-grant sa Supreme Court. Kay I did the study for this book and for a lecture that I gave from 1996, which is the year when the first case was granted, up to 2020, when the case of 2020, when the case of Tanandal was decided, the average is one case granted by the Supreme Court every 2 years.
Wow.
Yes. But after the Tanandal case, from 2020 to 2021, the average is one case per month. Ngagi grant. So that's a huge leap from one case every 2 years to one case every month. But wa ko'y guarantee kung mopadayon ba ni nga trend because pwede man mausob na sad ang timbre sa Supreme Court.
So as you can see, even ang Supreme Court is growing and maturing over the years. Sir Eric, we would like to acknowledge the arrival of Toledo City Mayor Marjorie Joie Perales. Maayong buntag, Mayor. Please join us here on stage. Ug daghan gid kaayong salamat for being here with us.
Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mayor. Maayong buntag, Mayor.
Sige, Mayor. So we were just discussing marriage statistics. At the same time, kining baguhay nga book nga gilaunch ni Atty. May Aguilar on Nullity and Annulment here in the Philippines, because we think that this is an interesting conversation to wrap up the month of February, nga love month. And while waiting, of course, no, for some of the statistics to be presented by Ms. Claire, daghan kayong salamat, Atty. May. This time, Mayor, can you tell us more about unsa may mga ongoing programs karon sa dakbayan sa Toledo that you'd like the public to know?
Thank you. For Toledo, daghan patang coming projects. Actually, we have this FIBA accredited sports center, gymnasium, 5,000 seating capacity sports basketball gymnasium. And then we're going to expand it. Actually, nag-demolish ang migamayng balay sa nga kilid-kilid for a oval, swimming pool, tennis courts, because we're trying to promote sports tourism also in the city of Toledo.
So this is going to be like an Abeliana-like
yes.
property sa Toledo. When is this target na to come into fruition, Mayor?
Actually, for this term, makasugod ta because Senator Mark Villar donated to us 125 M for the preparation of hopefully the grandstand and the oval. And then we're trying to reach out to all the senators to provide or to give us funds for the completion, hopefully. If not, naaman may loan sa City of Toledo, we can always fund it, but mas nindot sad og naay makatabang sa syudad sa Toledo because Toledo City is located on the west side of Cebu. Yeah, kami rasay the only city on the west side of Cebu. Hopefully, ang mga tao ba, because the progress in Cebu is focused mainly on the east side, hopefully ang Toledo on the western coast of Cebu maka-provide sa more sports tourism activities nga magsugod sa City of Toledo.
Pila di approximate gyud nga overall budget for this, Mayor? If you already have a guaranteed 125 million, pila pa'y kuwang?
The oval, I think with the grandstand, 400 million. And the badminton court, 90 million. The tennis court, I think 80 million. Actually, wala ko'y kopya, but naanami, every now and then, every 2 weeks, mag-meeting me with a big ticket project monitoring team. Kay gusto kong madali, kay if imo lang ng biyaan, langay kaayo. So ako, ga-monitor ko kung wala lang ko ilakaw, every Wednesday. Kung nailakaw, every 2 weeks. So hopefully, madali ni namo. Just in time for any national events. Ay, last week, naka-sponsor nami og kuan, kanang fundraising activity sa Sports Center, National University Basketball Team versus 𝗙𝗲𝗄𝗃. Hopefully, magsigi-sige na taan ni, mag-target sa mi og PBA Games, puhon-puhon sa City of Toledo.
We also heard, Mayor, nga naasad mo yung ongoing Halad-Alagad project sa Dakbayan sa Toledo. So if you could share with us more about that.
Okay, Halad-Alagad program is ang amo ang serbisyo nga gikan sa City Hall dadun na mo sa nagkalain-laing barangay kay aron makasave-save og pamliti ang atong katawhan. When in fact, kung may magpa-check up, dili maghuwat na lang sila namo nga mo adto mi. So this is an ongoing project which is held every Friday. So not only for social services, but we also provide entertainment. So ang usa na mo sa social services, we check up for the PWDs, senior citizens, sa mga katawhan, and then sa veterinary, kuan mi sa mga kahayupan, mga tambal sa iro, kababuya, mga baboy, mga baka, na magdasal mi sa among veterinarian. Veterinary services, yan nasa tay tuli. Pero sa pagkakaroon, last tuli na mo, muragamay lang ni avail, kay tingklase pa man. So hopefully by summer, yan ang bakasyon na. Pero you know what, ma'am? During pandemic, wala man mi nakahimuan ni. So, ingon mi nga, basin karon nga summer break, mas mudaghan pang magpatuli. Kay wa may tuli na hitabo for the past 2-3 years sa pandemic. So, usasad sa amo ang serbisyong mahatag is free meds for diabetic patients, hypertensive patients also. And sa DSWD, we give, sa daycare students, we give knapsacks with, sa daycare students, knapsacks with school supplies and chinelas, kay mo onay kasagaran wala sa taon ang ubang mga bata. And we bring our band, naaman mi Joyful 6038 band, to provide entertainment sa ato ang mga igsuon sa lain-laing barangay. And we also have the Joyful dancers and package, a holistic package dyan yung mahatag na mo sa katawhan sa Toledo.
Ikaw lead dancer, Ana Mayor, so Joyful dancer.
Mag-TikTok ka rin.
Sir Eric, would you like that?
Mayor, good morning, Mayor Joy. Kaning nahisgutan nimo, you mentioned about katong tuli nga program sa city. Ako lang isegue, kasalang bayan dayon.
Kasalan?
Kasalang bayan, naabot tayo programa nga.
Yeah, I have this Joyful Weddings, Joyful Wednesday weddings twice a month also. So, free. It's free. Pero dili na ko mag-officiate og wedding sa barangay, kundi panahon ako sa sports center. And it's all for free. And usually, magkasal ko katong nagpuyo na for, 8 years, 12 years. Doon na asay bagong nagkaila-ila. Pero I'm happy nga katong nagpuyo ng dugay na jud kaayo. Finally, makasal gyud nato. And na ako'y Joyful Wednesday weddings nya karon inigfiesta pohon sa Toledo come June, mo sponsor na pud ta og church blessing ani nila. Okay, I'm a devout Roman Catholic and I always believe nga sa pagpuyo, though legal na ang akong pagkasal, pero mas nindot man gyud og mablessingan pud na sila sa atong simbahan.
Sunod sa kuan, Joyful Wedding, ma'am, ako pong ipangutana katong mga single mothers po, unsa may programa po sa imong administrasyon.
So for those single moms,
yes.
mag-agad pa ko og unsay because we have the national law for them. I always believe nga kung unsay kinahanglan i-act sa city, bahin ani nila, I'm always supportive of all and always compliant of all the directives sa atong national government.
Ako lang nengi subay-subay, ma'am, kay from tuli, wedding, and then single mothers. Ang sunod ana, kung na yung mga bana nga mo mutago sa evacuation center, nagpatukod ba tag evacuation center?
Kung matago, sir.
Matago.
Kay nahadlok sa asawa.
Joke lang. Pero natay mga evacuation centers po man pa Toledo po.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Na ongoing evacuation center at Hinulawan, Sudlunon gamay. And then it's also one of our projects to widen the road going to our evacuation center. And we're naghimo sa tagdalan, ang atong usasad sa atong gi-focus ron, sir, is opening of roads to different barangays, and one of which is the Magdugo to Landahan, and ako sa nang i-connect ang Landahan to poblasyon, wherein anha makita na to ang dako kaayo nga evacuation center from the national government nga gihatag.
Mayor, speaking of evacuation centers, usaman sa gyud no sa gipahimugatan sa ato ang current administrations karon ang kaning disaster response and risk reduction kay climate change is real. And then last year ang Toledo City ug Dumanhog mooy recipients aning flood early warning system or FEWS nga gihatag sa DOST ug Pag-asa man, Mayor, no. Nagamit na ba ninyo? And so far gamit ba gyud siya sa inyong dakbayan?
Gamit jud kay siya kaning flood early warning system because we have dako kay na among river ron diha, the Hinulawan River. Mao na gina-monitor nato ron. And then for the information ninyo, ma'am, nga I think it was last November nga kanang natay na anod nga rescuer, and na at least the save sa to sa iyang fellow rescuers because ning kalitlag dako gyud ang tubig sa Hinulawan River sa kasaka pa. And we tried to rescue those 7 mga ngayag. Mao man ay livelihood sa mga ang mga tao nangayag ba. And then nikalitlag taas ang tubig. Gi-rescue sa atong CDRR personnel. Unfortunately, ang usa na sa current sa water ba, naanod siya. Imbis siya ang rescue, siya ang gi-rescue. But fortunately, na-rescue gyud down.
So all 7 were safe?
All 7 were saved, and that rescuer was also saved.
Okay, so far, Mayor, dako siya og natabang kaning flood early warning.
Yeah, and we're grateful for DOST and Pag-asa.
Let's talk about the challenges or the concerns that you'd like to address sa Toledo City, Mayor. What else man ang inyong gustong tutukan in terms of projects?
Ang amo aron is more an infra gid taron, ma'am. And then ang amo sang gi-monitor karon is our market. Bag-o na mig market among gibalhin sa karaan namong site, gibutang namo sa old namo nga bus terminal, and then ongoing na ang paghimo sa market. And then karon ba na amaze ko nagtan-aw aning roof deck diri sa Iconique Mall, and maybe pero di naman to nako mausab siguro ang plano ato, but in the future nako na projects I can make like this a roof deck or any area sa Toledo City makainani ko. And then, ang ako sang challenge, though, for implementation naman yun ni, ang katong nahawa na mo nga bus terminal, amo na sa tong ibalhin sa laing area, na anatay area, wherein ato nang expropriate ang property, na nasa court, and then we will build there a modern bus terminal. And in front of that modern bus terminal is our coming CTU. CTU sa Toledo. Wapag yun tayo CTU sa Toledo. Okay? So, ang ato sad is more farm-to-market roads, more road openings, so that we can connect one barangay to the other.
Ma'am, kindly expound katong CTU, sa vision nimo aning CTU and how you would like to proceed.
Okay. Cebu Technological University is the project of our beloved Congressman Pablo John Garcia, wherein dugay na gyud ni namong giplano, karon lang gyud ni namo siguro ma-realize because ang process man good serve sa kanang lot acquisition, pating dugay jud niya. And then usasad sa nasabutan namo ni Congressman PJ because there are many professors na mga ning anha from CTU Tuburan nga unsay priority na mo nga course nga gusto na mo for CTU Toledo. Now, I suggested to them na mahimo dili lang kompetensyaan ang mga colleges and university nga naa sa Toledo, like CCTC, LaSalle, and UV, they have courses there nga criminology and education. Kung mahimo, dili na lang na i-offer sa CTU. Ang i-offer sa CTU, ang kanang wala sa Toledo. More on agriculture, probably. Okay.
Tapos kani siya ma'am, mga kuan siya, mga scholars, daghang ta mga scholars taga Toledo makuha, maka-benefit ani niya.
Yeah, hopefully, sir.
Alright, sige. Before ta mo open sa floor to questions from the media, balikan ako si Miss Claire. Kaya di mo gani mawagtang ang atong pangutana kabahin sa national ID. Yes. So, naman gini mga nagkadaiyang reklamo and I'm sure nga na-immune naman sad mo aning mga rants on Facebook, Miss Claire, no? Pero ang kasagaran na sa gipang post karon silang mga national ID, sa kadugay ko nun nilag hinuwat, Miss Claire, bond paper. Bond paper ako nga version sa ID ang naabot sa ilahang mga panimalay. So, number one question, unsay update sa mga pending IDs nga wala pa naabot? O number two, valid ba ni siya kining paper IDs nga ilahang nadawat?
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Andy. Before ko mo hatag sa update sa ato ang Philippine Identification System, I would like to answer the question if ni-increase ba ang atang separated or annulled na cases. So from 2015, we have 54,716 separated or annulled persons in Central Visayas versus sa 91,700. So ni-increase ang atuang separated or annulled na registered based sa Census of Population and Housing. So that is 2015, then the latest is the 2020. And of course, sa katong teenage pregnancy, this is based on the National Demographic and Health Survey, which will be conducted every 5 years. So last na mo ang i-conduct is the 2022, and before sa 2022 was 2017. Ang results sa 2017 is 7.4%. So kung may yung teenage pregnancy, so mga teens, that is 15 years old to 19 years old. For 2022, atong data is 4.8%. So, need decrease. Then, allow me to, the data of the Philippine Identification System nga updates. So, we started the registration of the Philippine Identification System last 2021. From 2021 to 2023, Philippine Statistics Authority in Central Visayas registered a total of around 6 million Filipinos. Out of that 6 million, we only delivered the PhilID cards, katulad yung plastic nga ID gyud, about 2.9 million. So we have still mga 3 million nga i-deliver. So to augment na, to fast track para ma-enjoy na pod sa mga na-register ang benefits of having registered PhilSys, si PSA nag-launch sometime in October 2022 the PhilID. Unsa man ang PhilID? Katutong bot pasabot ni Miss Andy nga digital PhilID copy but printed only in a piece of paper. Para ni siya to fast track sa pag-distribute sa atong PhilID while waiting sa atoang PhilID cards nga katong plastic. The question is it acceptable to the government or private agencies ang katong printed in a paper? The answer is yes. There is an advisory issued by PSA and also other agencies to name DFA, PhilHealth, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas that this e-PhilID printed in a piece of paper is a valid proof of identity to the holder. So if ever na mo katong paper na e-PhilID, that is acceptable in private and government transactions.
So is the public allowed to file a complaint against a certain public or private agency nga dili mo dawat sa imuhang PhilID? Because ako personally, Ms. Claire, nakasuway ko a certain bank nga card na gani ha, I submitted my my national ID, gipangyayuhan pag ikuglaing ID kay di ko no siya valid. So pwede ko mo reklamo.
For that, pwede dili siya, we not encourage na complain jud, but pwede i-report sa mo ang agency. So sa pag-report mo, email lang ta sa info@philsys.gov.ph. Ang sulod sa atong email is unsay imuhang transaction, asa ka ni transact ug unsay date sa imong transaction. Kung asa ka ni transact, unsay branch ug name sa establishment. Then our agency will be the one na to communicate with them through an advisory.
So if you receive the paper version, you still have to wait for the plastic one?
Yes, yes. Same, free ang ato ang paper one, free po tong atong PhilID card. Katong naay papel nga ID, makadawat gihapon sila PhilID card.
Yeah, kung magisi ang imuhang paper version, pwede kami mismo ang mo print na ami online access.
So we encourage, no, thank you for reminding me. So we encourage everyone, katong kanang receive na sa ato ang paper or gitawag og e-PhilID card, tarungon nato ato siyang i-keep nga dili siya mabasa or magisi. So pwede siya ipalaminate, but make sure nga dili siya ma-damage ang atong QR code. Kaya if ma-damage, dili na niya nato siya ma-verify to authenticate the validity or sa ato ang information on niya. Kaya ang mga relying parties, pwede man sila maka-verify as to the validity. So, katod yung mga wala na to nalikayan, especially na uwanan, no? Kaya wala pa na-laminate. So, pwede rata maka-request ato sa amo ang nearest PhilSys Registration Center, maka-request tag e-PhilID. And then, subject po na for verification sa atong mga staff, miss.
For free ra?
Yes.
Pero unsa mag-reason sa delay, Ms. Claire? Nganong dugay manggid kayo ang card?
Actually, the Philippine Identification System is a 5-year plan. We started registering the PhilID. So in terms of registration, responsible na sa Philippine Statistics Authority, then there will be a collaboration of different agencies, no? And then the printing will be in the Bangko Sentral, then the delivery will be taken care of by the post office. So PSA registered millions of Filipinos from 2021 up to now. So the bottleneck is on the printing. But before the printing, mo undergo pa na siya og mga different authentication and deduplication process. Standard verification na to ensure nga ang ato ang PhilSys number, ang ato ang registration is unique. Kita ra gitag-iyaan ang PhilSys number. So before ta ma-issuehan og PhilSys number, dapat i-ensure nga unique. For example, nagpa-register ta og year 2022. Sa whole Philippines, 10 million ba karon nga na-register. So there are mga 9 million plus nga i-match sa imong information nga Claire, ikaw ra gyud si Claire Coronado. Example. So mo na siya na usa sa mga reasons pod nga ma-delay. So dili pasabot nga nagdungan mo register, like nagdungan minister, magdungan pog abot ang among PhilID because it depends on the process on the authentication and the duplication process of the information of the registrants.
Thank you so much, Ms. Claire. I'm sure nga daghan sa pangutana atong mga guests. No? Napaka-i-add. Sige, go ahead.
Napaka-i-add. So, muana sila, wala po ko ato ang paper nga ID, and then wala po ko atong PhilID card. So, unsaon man na siya nga naatay e-PhilID. So, katong maka-avail lang sa atong e-PhilID are those nga naay PhilSys number. How to know nga naatay PhilSys number? So, pwede ta, katong mga makakonect og internet, so pwede ta maka-verify if nanatay PhilSys number through trn-verifier@philsys.gov.ph. So i-input lang nato ang transaction reference number. So apan katong nag-register ka, gikwaan ka og front-facing photograph sa imong iris scan og sa katong imuhang fingerprints, gitagaan makag small nga slip mga half bond paper. So imo to siyang i-keep kay naay 29-digit number mo to atong gamiton para pag-verify if naa kay PhilSys number. Once na kay PhilSys number, so pwede na nato ma-print ang atong e-Phil ID. Asa man nato pwede ma-print na sa nearest PhilSys Registration Center. So ang pinakaduol nga ato ang PhilSys Registration Center na sa Gaisano South, no capital sa Colon Street, 3rd floor. So pwede ta magdala ta atong transaction slip.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Claire. We will now be opening the floor to questions from our friends from the media, but we will pause for a very short break for a few reminders from our brand partners, Iconic Mall Colon and IPI.
Welcome to Colon's newest landmark, the Iconic Mall in Colon. With its state-of-the-art architecture and design, the Iconic Mall in Colon will surely give you a unique shopping experience. But most of all, here at the Iconic Mall, we value your safety and security. Thus, all of our staff follow strictly by the protocols set by the IATF and the EOC of the Cebu City Government. So please visit us here at the Iconic Mall in Colon and enjoy a safe shopping and dining experience. Basta lag na unique, iconic.
Gentle non-drying formula kaya
blooming sa protection, blooming pang complexion,
blooming sa bango at sa presyo sulit kaya
sa Bioderm mag-bloom.
Ang dami mong mask ni. Oh no, ang dami nga. For me, di paramihan ng steps sa pimples. 2 steps lang sa Dr. S. Wong Sulfur Soap with Moisturizer and Bioderm Ointment. Made with sulfur that helps kill pimple-causing germs. And zinc oxide that helps lessen redness and inflammation. Ito, try mo. Sa amin, 2 steps lang with Dr. Wong.
Gusto ko yung sabon pampaputi na hindi nakaka-dry.
dapat may panlaban sa germs. Try Dr. Wong's Lightening Soap. Helps lighten and moisturize your skin. Tulong iwas dryness. May tulong proteksyon pa sa germs. Dr. Wong's Lightening Soap.
All right, so we are back here at Open Line News Media Forum. Thank you so much once again for joining us today. So just to wrap things up, a while ago during our discussion, ato nang gihisgutan ang marriage statistics, naghisgut sabta sa bag-uhay lang nga gilusad nga libro ni Atty. May Aguilar, nga Nullity and Annulment, a non-lawyer's guide to the Philippine law on marriage. We also discussed the ongoing programs of Toledo City with Mayor Joie, and ato sang nahisgutan ang inyuhang pinakainit nga issue on your national ID. O karon hatagan na nato higayon atong mga kauban sa media nga sila na say mangutana sa atong mga guests. So if anyone would like to start, the microphone is free for you to use. Please state your name, your organization, and the question. Oh, by the way, ha, itong i-welcome atong mga guests diri sa Iconic Mall Colon. Kung gusto mo join sa conversation, kung doon na mo yung mga pangutana sa atong mga guests, you are more than welcome to join us. All right, who'd like to start? Greggy?
Greggy Magdadaro of My TBC po. Akong question una ni Atty. May o ni Ma'am Mary Claire Coronado. So Atty. May, mangutan lang ko nimo og comment o reaction sa for the third time na pasar na sa plenary ang kining divorce bill. I don't know kung makalusot ba yun this time kay considering kuan magina conservative magita kining parting mga moral issue mas pabor magyud ang atong mga Pilipino o ato ang majority sa atong mga kaigsunan ni ini. So unsa imong comment ana Atty. May?
comment on whether mo support ko sa divorce bill or not.
Ma'am,
Or
depende.
your opinion on mo pasar pagdi.
Pwede, o makatubag ka both, pwede rasad.
My opinion on whether mo pasar siya dili, I have high hopes nga mo pasar because the trend really is in along those lines. Unya, I was in Singapore recently, last week lang, and when I told the other lawyers there nga walay divorce sa Philippines, they were shocked. So I'm really thinking nga murag, it's about time. Murag mo pasar na gyud siguro ni. And that's even the reason why gidali na ko ang book o gawas. Because og maabtan siya sa divorce bill, I'd have to redo the entire book all over. So og mogawas ng bill, at least ang divorce bill na lay akong kulatahon.
So,
mogawas na siguro.
So, murag imong gi-welcome ang katong
Yes. It's not that I don't cherish marriage. It's not that I do not respect the validity of marriage. I do. However, I also understand nga when we marry, we are at such very young ages, 18 good pwede na maminyo. Now, I have seen many people come to me about having married, unya finding out nga they made the wrong choice. Nakaingon bitaw ko, maybe mas maayo magminyo nga gulang-gulang na because mas maayo atong, you know, the discernment and everything. Pero di man malikayan, kay 18 man lagi ang edad nga pwede magminyo. So, naagyoy masayop. And will you condemn them for an eternity of misery? Just because we think that the marriage has to be preserved. And Justice Leonen, in the case of Tan Andal, pointed it out. And in many cases before that, a handful of cases before that, naingon ang Supreme Court, mas marespeto daw nato ang marriage kung dili nato pugson tung naglisod sa ilang mga relationships, di nato pugson to stay on in a marriage that does not work. So even the Supreme Court is already veering towards divorce.
So mas preferred nimo attorney kung patas ano tong edad or sa ba?
It's actually easier. I have seen a lot of couples suffer while I am saying even in the book I'm saying work it out, find out og ngano gyud nga gusto kang magigbulag, but kung di na gyud madala, I've seen a lot of couples suffer and I feel nga gilisod-lisod ra gyud nato by not allowing them a way out. So a divorce would be an easy way out for those who are truly suffering.
So ang edad atong patas agamay o sa imong opinion, like 18 ay itaas siguro?
Lagi murag I know I have 3 kids, right? My youngest is 22. And even at that age, I'd say wa pay mga buot. Unyag magminyo na at that age, kinsa may mo sa pupo di ang inahan. So I told them, you know, think about it because I'm not gonna help you if you get married at this age. I'm not. You're on your own. But I don't know. It takes a lot of thinking probably and debate on whether to raise the age of the marrying age. Kay murag 18 is very young, especially today.
Kang Ma'am Mary Claire, ingon na bagyod kadaghan ang nagkanang annulment nga statistics nato. Or kana lang karon latest.
So ang latest is based on the 2020 Census of Population and Housing. So kani siya nga data sir is kanang inig adto bitaw sa balay-balay sa mga tana. Unsa imuhang civil status, single, married. So maingon na sila nga married. But dili na maingon asa imong marriage certificate. So,
okay.
Yes, ang niingon og separated or annulled sa 2020 is 91,700 in Central Visayas.
Taas ni siya, ma'am? Or
compared sa 2015, ni taas siya because 2015 is only 54,716. So there is a difference of 36,987 in the span of 5 years.
Daghang di day magbalipayon sa ilang kuan.
Bitaw mo nang choose wisely.
Okay. Lastly, kang Mayor Marjorie Joie Perales. Mayor, ako na i-clarify, ang katong imuhang FIBA approved nga basketball court, kato ng existing karon or lain?
Mauna siya, sir.
Asa atong gi-expand? Okay, nganong murag gamayan na ta or dili kaya nga mo held og kanang dagkong event? Like,
Ang kanang FIBA, kanang sa basketball gymnasium, it's
Okay.
aircon na siya close. So, sa gawas, maghimo ta og oval with grandstand
okay.
for outdoor activities also.
So mo na atong gipalapdan. Pero katong
palapdan.
basketball court is more gito. Wala na to gi-extend or
Wala na. Dili na to hilabtan nato mo na to.
Okay. O sa itong gihatag sa katong mga na atong murag na displaced gamay nga mga kining atong mga residents.
Mga balay.
Oh.
We paid their balay. Gipa-assess na to appraisal committee, sa appraisal
Okay.
committee og pili angay, and then they kanang wala gyud sila resistance, nindot kay sila, they cooperated because ilahasad gusto sa sila makatabang manindot gyud ang syudad sa Toledo.
So para sa imo ha, murag timely gyud ni o kinahanglan gyud ni nga atong ma-implement ang kaning mao nga project.
Yes sir, yes sir. Because you know we participated sa sinulog sa Carmen.
Okay.
Dito ko na kuan ba nga na magay grandstand ang Carmen, so maghimo gyud ato gyud ning padayunon ang grandstand sa Toledo. Because murag center man gyud ang Toledo sa west coast of Cebu province.
So naka-mention naman ka na, Mayor, maka-expect ba ta basig mag-ingrande mo og sinulog para sa Carmen? Nga karon ana mo'y kay nara pa nindot pud nga mga sinulog sa Toledo.
Ugyan lang nato sa ang amo lang gyud ron sir is that we can make a more kanang nindot ba nga venue for sports tourism. Okay, thank you sir.
Next question. Sir Jean.
Yes, good morning. Jean Valenzuela from News Star Philippines. Ma'am, question lang nako, ma'am. Nihisgot mong good mo sa about defective marriage. Does it mean nga doon naman ko yung mga marriage kaniadto nga wa ma-register, murag nasayop nga wa mahatod kay ang mga marriages, especially sa mga judges ba, sila may muhatod ni ana sa PSA na karon nga office. Kung wa ni ma-register man, does it mean to say nga dili pa minyo usa o how would you
Ganahan ka no, kaya aron ulit tao. No, the presumption is, kung dugay nang nagpuyo, sir, unya, there is no evidence to the contrary, ang presumption is that minyo sila validly, legally. Dili ta maka-ingon, dili na to sila pwede ingnon nga, dili mo legally married just because ang inyong ngalan wala sa PSA. There are cases na in the Supreme Court nga gi-raise na nga issue nga nangita mis PSA wala man nilang ngalan dito marehistro so di na sila minyo, but the fact nga nagkuyog na sila, nanganak na daghan ng anak, nanagko ng mga anak, gi-presume sila sa Supreme Court nga legally married.
But the church marriage could it be a supporting documents for this marriage, ma'am? The church wedding.
I'm sorry sir, di kay klaro.
Ang kining church wedding ba? Kung i-supplement nimo sa inyong marriage certificate nga wa ma-record, is this valid?
Yes, pwede. Kung magminyo mo sa church, unya, you intend it to be a valid marriage, comply lang sa requirements. Kaya mo require magyud nag marriage license, you know, all that stuff. So, kuha mo, ana. Kung dili gani siya mo comply, ana, bisan pa og elaborate kayo atong church wedding, pero wa tay marriage license, di gyud na siya mahimong marriage. Di na siya ma-valid marriage.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Ari ko sa one, ma'am. About sa IDs ba, ma'am? Mas nauna pa ning what do you call this?
E-Phil ID.
Yeah. Kining mga question atong uban ba nga nag-una pag-apply, akong tanaw murag ang problema ninyo naa sa postal ang delivery ba? Kay nayuban nga nibalhin nagbalay nya paluapon lawa nang ato mangyapon maabot. So, di ba mas mayo na i-pursu ninyo inyong coordination with the postal office?
We are currently coordinating with the postal officer as to the delivery of the Phil ID. For those nga nibalhin na sa balay, wala na diri. So, amo ang i-coordinate sa barangay officials kung asa na ni siya. If ever na i-contact number directly mo contact na mi sa registrant. And if ever, for example, ikan siya Cebu, mobalhin ba rin siya Davao. So, field office na sa PSE mo coordinate ni Davao. Unya, ipadala ra po na iyahang field ID dito, if ever available na, sir.
Doon na mga ko na-experience nga ni Duol na ko ba? Nato yung gamay nga papel katong
Yes, i-fill ID na siya, sir.
So akong gipasawayan ni atos Mandawi. Nakuha niya ang IDs Mandawi. So sa postal gyud ang puso ang problema ani.
Sige. Thank you for that, sir. We will sa management to coordinate sa mga post office sa mga kada municipality.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Ma'am Kang Mayor, by the way, congratulations for winning the Carmen Sinulog Festival.
Thank you, Sir Jean.
Si Mayor nga na was not married once, pero kaduha na ni siya na minyo kay na-meet ni nako siya sa panahon pa ni Mayor Sanis Menya. Karon ang iyang kaminyo nanas katawan sa Toledo. So, ma'am, kining nakita na ko ang kuan pa, ma'am. I would like to ask about the most of the issues when I worked with Sanis Menya before when you were still councilor. Ang ilang atakihon PMA with Sani is the hospital. Karon I've seen so many changes na can you elaborate further kung nadayon ba to mga dialysis na damgo kaniadto ni Sani uban pang mga improvements sa hospital, ma'am?
Okay, thank you, Sir Jean. Yes, we were bashed 2017, 2018. It was one of number one gito nga 6-point agenda nako nga saad sa Toledo kung makadaog ko. Fortunately, nakadaog ko. So, maog yun na ang gi-focus nato ang atong hospital. Good thing, thank you Lord. Bisan pag nag-pandemic, nakuha nato ang level 1 status sa City Hospital. Before, paglingkod nako, it was just an infirmary status. But despite the pandemic issue, katong mga problema na atubang na to, but we still made it to a level 1 status ang hospital. Nya karon na natay partner, a private company, Capsel, na sila nag-rent sa isa ka building adjacent to our city hospital for dialysis na to. And daghan natang na-accommodate diha sa atong city hospital for dialysis. And with the mga gamit na to, nanatay CT scan, operating room is functional, delivery room, makahimo na taog cesarean, and katong mga operation na even mastectomy. Gi-make sure jud na nako nga pwede ang mastectomy because I'm a cancer survivor, a breast cancer survivor. Nga kinahanglan, madali ang pag-save na to sa kababayan-an nga na yung nana, nga nasa tay, mammogram. Mammogram, ultrasound, CT scan. What else? Daghan patang na gi-focus na to for the RCT Hospital. Aron ang mga pasyente, dili na mo arig Cebu City. Pero dili madala, refer yun na to.
It's not surprising, ma'am, because I know you are a nurse also.
Yes, sir. Parihata, sir.
A multi-awarded nurse, regionally and internationally.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, kanang you mentioned about sports tourism. Is it possible nga ang Toledo, one of these days, will become a medical tourism area?
Pardon?
For the medical tourism.
Medical tourism? Yes, sure. Kung daghan bang mo offer of services for Toledo, you are very much welcome. Just like the kanang proposal ninyo, sir, for the reservist, Army reservist. Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir Jean. Sir Noy?
Kani kang Mayor Joie, inday rin ka pangutan na mo. Nagstorya mi ni Board Member Jimbo, ang expansion sa Mactan Export Precision maana sa siyudad sa Toledo. Murag nagpaingon natin niya kay Industrial City namgyud ang siyudad sa Toledo ug ang lungsod sa Balamban. So ang siyudad sa Toledo ug lungsod sa Balamban mahimo na sa export precision in the southwest.
Yes.
Southwest.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it needs the approval of our beloved President, ang ato ang PEZA, Philippine Export Processing Zone sa Barangay Dumlog, Toledo City. It's a 36-hectare area. nga ready na for the PEZA sa atong barangay Dumlog.
So, kato nangitag trabaho, usa ni makatubag sa mong solusyon?
Yes, hopefully. Nya, may tag ma-approve yun, di ba?
Oh, nya, inday sad nga pangutan na barangay election na, daghan na ingon nga ang mga dagkong politiko sama ninyo, dili mo suporta apan sa pulong lamang naman na kanang non-partisan.
Always supportive yun ta, sir.
Kamong mga dagkong politiko.
Para sa kayuhan sa atong katawhan.
O yun mo, unsay kuan barugana nimo na, ma'am?
Sa unsa, sir?
Sa barangay election.
Ay, mo support gyud ta, sir, kay these barangay captains and these barangay councilors very supportive man gyud nato ron sa atong mga proyekto, sa atong administrasyon. Wala na sila hatag og labad sa ulo nako ron, and we're going to support them also.
So walay zona libre?
Wala, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir Noy. Queenie, and then next we'll have Juliana.
This first question is for Attorney May. Were there instances of clients nga niduol nimo attorney nga would file for annulment with the grounds of psychological incapacity? And how will you as a lawyer consider a situation nga kana siya it's psychological incapacity? Or do you have to consult first with a professional psychologist before deciding?
Nakadungog ko nito bag diri nga required. Actually, under the Tan-Andal case, dili na siya required. Di na required ang psychiatrist. As a lawyer, we can determine man. Ang kana ra gyud siya, ma'am, ato ra gyud siyang pangitaon nga dili na taphaw lang ang ilang gipangingon nga mga characteristics sa ilang bana or asawa. Dapat character trait jud siya. Naa gyud siyang pagkatao ba nya wa gyud siya kasabot nga dili na pwede kay minyo na siya. Maka-assess ra mi.
So, in that example, attorney knows siya na siya self-awareness nga siya mismo moingon siya nga psychologically incapable ko of this, or ang partner ang mo reklamo.
Pwede ra og siya. Actually, that is a strange thing about the law kay pwede man ka ikaw mo presentar nga PI day ko, so void day ang akong marriage. I know it sounds funny, but it is possible under our law. Pwede gid siya moingon nga ako PI ko, ma'am, ako kasabot sa akong gisudlan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had clients, attorney nga mao na?
Yeah. Naa kayo.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is for Ma'am Mary Claire. Ma'am, how many years pa man jud does the public still have to wait to receive the PhilSys ID nga tong PVC card jud bitaw? Keeping in mind na early 2021 pa nag-start ang registration, if I'm not mistaken. Do we have a target year kung kanus jud mahuman ang distribution of PhilSys IDs?
As of the moment, as of this date, wala pa mi gitagaan og until kanus ang pag-distribution sa ato ang Phil ID card, katong ID na giyon. However, the Philippine Identification System is a 5-year plan.
5 years, okay.
5 years.
So, which means padayon gapon ang registration, mamawa tay deadline.
Yes, napadayon may register. We have a target of around 1 million for the year 2023.
Okay. Last question is for Mayor Marjorie. Mayor, to those affected na homeowners, were they informal settlers or privately owned to siya nga lands?
Privately owned houses.
Okay. So it's only cash and incentives ang nadawat nila no wala tay mga relocation area na na-prepare for them.
They choose their own lot, and then pag hinahinay o guba, gipakuha na mo kung unsay pay mada nila sa ilahang lugar.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Juliana?
Good morning. I'm Juliana Marie Redanas, USJRCom intern from MyTV. And this question is for Attorney Aguilar. I know I'm not married, but moas lang ko how much your book is. Ag-asa siya mabay. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Bisag dili minyo or naghuna-huna pang magminyo or even teenagers and young people, I actually encourage you to read the book kay it will tell you a lot of things about marriage. So, mo na akong advice. Now, the book is 475 pesos. You can get your copy from Shopee, or you can go to the second floor of JY Mall where our office is. na amil luyo sa Pacquiao Gym. Second floor, JY, luyo sa Pacquiao Gym. That's where my law office is, and the book is also available there. And then Shopee, of course.
Yes, Greggy.
Last pag yun ni Mayor Joy. Mayor, lately, nagagubot ang mga taga dito dapit sa atua sa may Southwest katong nahitabo sa Tuburan o niya. Katong sa imuhang end last mga November o December na atoy murag sa imong usa sa mga barangays Toledo na na-report nga katong gibalbal kuno og ang katong mga hayupan. Naabot ba ni sa imong office o niya ato bang gipa-check kung unsa gi resulta po nato if ever?
Katotong mga baboy.
Oo, kato.
Actually, pag puro man to post sa Facebook. O akong gipapangita to sa atong vet. Actually, namingaw naman pod. Yan ay itik, yan ay aring dapita. Pero ako tong gipasusig yun sa atong veterinarian. Pero after that, namingaw na. Ang iyahang kuha na to aso sa Dr. Garton, nga most probably after the kaning mga animals nga after the calamity ba ni Odette. Wan ay kapasilungan. Pero kuhan biya kayo kanabitawng nganong ang diri na mga part lang. Actually wala gyud ning adto sa nako nga mao ni ana sa Facebook ra pud ko kita.
Okay.
Nya ang heart na kunig ikuha, ang kanang sani, mga intestines, nya wala gilabti ang other parts sa baboy. Nya ningon to nga mo ang veterinarian nga wala ni kapuy-an siguro sa bukid, Mayor. Nga mo ning mulugson sa ubos, manguha. Pero after that, namingaw naman po to, sir. Wala naman po to istorya.
So, nawa ra galit ang katong istorya.
Oo.
So, kining... Pero ato itong gipa-check yun.
Yeah, sa atong veterinary.
So, nakalit ra gyud kawa ang istorya. So, mahog ra
Pero
tong...
iya, dyan itong giadto.
Okay.
Ni Dr. 𝗟𝗲𝗄𝗃 Garton. Og asang possible diin to gikan to mga wild dogs man kuno to, wild dogs.
Wild dogs. So karon posible na pa to sa ato or wala na ang katong
wala na sa ko kabasa sa Facebook. Wala say nang abot sa ako wala say barangay captain nga ning report sa ako
So sa advice na to sa kuan if ever kay murag naa pa man ni diha basig mo suol na po ni sila og buhat og storya or pagawas.
We cannot control manggod na inyong mga storya, sir. Sometimes dami, biasa ning mga inaani. Di ko maingon panan dami. So, social media, lisod sa ding social media mo kuan na to.
Tikim yan.
Hopefully, nag-watch lang man pod me. We're kami watchdog sa city. Thank you, sir.
I think na-hype sa itong story, Mayor, kay nagsunod manggod tong wakwak sa manananggal sa Talisay. Naabot na sa Diris Toledo.
Yeah, that was after the atong Odette, may nana ba nga. Matang ako ni Dr. Garton is wala na siguro ni kapasilungan ng mga wild dogs.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Yes, Sir Jean.
Kang Atty. Aguilar, ma'am. Daghang mga kaigsuunan nato karon ang nibalhin sa Islam para magbinyog usab. Usab to ilang last marriage, ma'am. Saon man ni ma'am. Ang uban nila para magbinyog usab, magpa-Islam.
Nibalhin og Isla?
Islam.
Islam. Yeah, kana tricky na siya kaayo. Pero dili kay ko familiar, pero naay law prohibiting remarriage in Islam. Kung naa kay di kay ko sure di ko familiar sa Islamic law. Pero naa ko ni bagong law ana ron nga mo prohibit na ana nga practice. Di lang ko familiar what law it is.
All right, do we have any other questions? How about from our guests that is Iconic Mall Colon? Again, you're free to join in the conversation. Kung wala na tayo dugang mga pangutana pa, wala na. Uy, by the way, ato silang i-plug kung doon na mo yung mga nadunggan nga background noise na paggot sa mga iro sa second floor. Di sa Iconic Mall Colon in partnership with DVMF dunay ongoing spay and neuter sa inyuhang mga pets. So they're offering it for only 200 pesos, just a minimal amount for their registration fee. Normally, libuan mong good sa imuhang magasto no, sa mga private veterinary clinics. So in celebration of World Spay Day today. Alright. So kung wala na tayo igo, dugang pa nga mga panghutana, ato nang hatagan og higayon, ato ang mga guests to give their parting statements and final reminders for all of our viewers. Attorney May, would you like to start? Do promote the book. Again, remind them kung asa mapalit. And probably, Attorney May, you could also give our friends, our viewers, tips on what to think about before they tie the knot.
Okay, I'll start with the tips. I think it's very important nga before you tie the knot, you ask yourselves if you are ready. Ready in the aspect of finances, emotions, and psychology. So, ready na ba mo? Og naamoy anak, makabuhi ba mo? Diba? Or ready ba ka mo atiman? Okay? So, if the answer to any of those questions is no, ayaw usa pagminyo, dili mahurot ang laki, dili mahurot ang babae. Alright? So, with that, I'd like to remind everyone, my book is available on Shopee. It's also available from my law office. But I think the most important thing to say about the book is that kung mabasa mo sa libro, the book is actually a series, sort of. My first book was 𝗙𝗲𝗃. This one is Nullity and Annulment. The objective only is singular, to make the law understandable. Sayon sabton sa dili abogado. This is a work for non-lawyers. Law for non-lawyers. So mo encourage ko ninyo to get a copy of the book. I can promise you, makasabot gyud mo sa balaod bisag dili mo abogado if you read my book. Thank you, Ms. Hans.
Thank you, Attorney May, and I would definitely say here to that. It's very sabotable. Dili gyud mo magsunggo mo basa sa libro ni Attorney May. Ms. Claire?
All right. In behalf of the Philippine Statistics Authority, we would like to thank MyTV for inviting PSA to share relevant and important information as well as updates, especially the implementation of the Philippine Identification System and, of course, the marriage statistics. February is not just a love month for us in PSA, but also it is our 33rd Civil Registration Month. So kauban na mo si Mayor sa LGU through the local civil registrar to provide civil registration services. So ato ang mga local civil registrars, atong LGUs, are also celebrating with us the Civil Registration Month. So they have different lined up activities. So karon ang closing ceremony. So ang uban is nag-conduct of mobile registration, kasala ng bayan, and all others na in line sa celebration. So today is the last day. And of course, we would like to remind everyone, for those requesting civil registry documents, in Central Visayas, we have 3 outlets. One in Cebu City, second is in 𝗙𝗲𝗄𝗃 City, and third is in 𝗙𝗲𝗃 City. Of course, we will be accepting the clients na with confirmed appointment slip. So for the link, kindly visit appointment.psa.gov.ph. And of course, for more information about Philippine Statistics Authority, if you would like to request data, other information, you may visit our website at rsso07.psa.gov.ph. Again, daghan kayong salamat, MyTV, for inviting Philippine Statistics Authority. And of course, thank you to our stakeholders and data providers for always collaborating and helping with us. Once again, good morning.
Thank you so much, Ms. Claire. This will not be the second time. Kaya doon na pa ni siya utang na mo nga spokesperson to discuss inflation rates in Central Visayas. So magbalik-balik ka pohon, Ms. Claire. And of course, Mayor Joie for giving us a joyful morning this Tuesday.
Thank you, Ms. Andrea. Thank you, Sir Jean and MyTV and Open Line for having me here. And I hope to those viewers of MyTV, one of these days, please visit Toledo City, the joyful city with the joyful people. And we are not only sa Toledo, holistic ang among approach. Nobody is left behind. So, one of these days, visit us. Thank you.
Yes, and we look forward to that world-class stadium. In a few months from now, hopefully. Daghan kayong salamat, Mayor Joy, Ms. Claire, Attorney May. Daghan kayong salamat sa tong friends from the media. Thank you so much to our partners for Open Line News Media Forum. Of course, our venue partner, Iconique Mall Colon, and our partner, IPI, the makers of Dr. S. Wong Sulfur Soap and Bioderm Ointment. Pimples, 2 steps lang with Dr. S. Wong Sulfur Soap and Bioderm Ointment. They also have Dr. Wong's Lightning Soap, lipat na sa buting walang hapdi at may germ protection. Switch to Dr. Wong's Lightening Soap, Casino Active. Dapat cool ang alcohol nyo, mag-Casino Active. Kills 99.9% of germs while giving you an alcohol-fresh feeling because of its fresh scent and cooling sensation. And of course, Bioderm Germicidal Soap. Ang sabon na Bio-There sa germ protection, Bio-There buong araw, at Bio-There sa coolness pa. Kaya dito ka na sa Bioderm, always Bio-There for you, and we will always be here for you. Mao nga magkita-kita na sabta sunod Martes pohon, only here on Open Line News Media Forum. This has been Andrea Patania Matthew.
And I'm Eric Espina.
Maayong buntag og daghang salamat.
Welcome to Colon's newest landmark, the Iconique Mall in Colon. With its state-of-the-art architecture and design, the Iconique Mall in Colon will surely give you a unique shopping experience. But most of all, here at the Iconique Mall, we value your safety and security. Thus, all of our staff follow strictly by the protocols set by the IATF and the EOC of the Cebu City government. So please visit us here at the Iconique Mall in Colon and enjoy a safe shopping and dining experience. Basta laag na unique, iconic.
Ang alcohol mo ba'y nakaka-disinfect? Siyempre. Pero alcohol ba? Ang Casino Active Alcohol, may cologne fresh feeling. Init at pawis, stress sa work, night outs, sa beach. Mag-Casino Active Alcohol Fresh. Matapang na amoy. Switch na sa Alcohol Fresh. Mag-Casino Active.
Ibang level ka mag-alaga, mahal. Always there for us. Parang sabon natin. Bio-Derm. Always Bio-There for us.
Bio-There sa germ protection, feeling cool.
Plus blooming ang skin at bango. Ganyan din ba ang sabon nyo?
Pimples? For me, di paramihan ng steps sa pimples. 2 steps lang sa Dr. S. Wong Sulfur Soap and Bioderm Ointment with sulfur that helps kill pimple-causing germs and zinc oxide that helps lessen redness and inflammation. 2 steps lang with Dr. Wong.
Boom, 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 boom with Bioderm mag-boom.
May skin germ protection, gentle non-drying formula kaya
booming sa protection, booming pang complexion,
blooming sa
me. Oh no, ang dami nga. For me, di paramihan ng steps sa pimples. 2 steps lang sa Dr. S. Wong Sulfur Soap with Moisturizer and Bioderm Ointment. Made with sulfur that helps kill pimple-causing germs. And zinc oxide that helps lessen redness and inflammation. Ito, try mo. Sa amin, 2 steps lang with Dr. Wong.
Gusto ko yung sabon pampaputi na hindi nakaka-dry.
Dapat may panlaban sa germs. Try Dr. Wong's Lightening Soap. Helps lighten and moisturize your skin. Tulong iwas dryness. May tulong proteksyon pa sa germs. Dr. Wong's Lightening Soap.